So, Kari, can you describe like a misconception that people often have about primate sanctuaries?
Yes, I think a lot of people think it's like a zoo,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. And I tell people now the zoos are getting better all the time. I do have to say that, but I tell people to look at the zoo. It looks like a beautiful habitat, but then look at the hot wire wrapped around the tree. It's for humans. They want the humans to see the beautiful habitat, but the animals aren't allowed to mess up the trees. So we plant all the time because they will just pull up a banana plant and, they're happy with that and they eat the whole banana plant. And we put a lot of edible plants in their habitat so they can eat them. And zoos are for people. That's for human entertainment, really. It is not for the animals. Now it's better than it used to be. It used to be just jail cells, and now they're doing a lot more at zoos. I only wish.
Welcome to the Better Life for Animals podcast, where we amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. Through powerful stories and expert insights, we shine a light on the efforts to rescue, protect, and advocate for animals. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Every follower helps us reach more people and support animal sanctuaries. Enjoy the conversation.
Kari Bagnall is the founder and executive director of Jungle Friends Primate Sanctuary in Gainesville, Florida. It's a refuge that she launched in 1997 after an unexpected encounter with a pet monkey that forever changed her life. Once an interior decorator, Kari shifted gears to offer permanent sanctuary to monkeys retired from laboratory research, ex-pets, or animals confiscated from neglect. Driven by compassion and a deep belief in giving primates a second chance, she has faced the emotional, physical, and financial challenges of running a nonprofit sanctuary on and off on a 50-acre property. Under her leadership, Jungle Friends has grown to care for nearly 200 monkeys and is recognized nationally for its credible, ethical care and its role in combating cruelty against animals. Kari, thank you so much for joining us today. It's such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background before founding Jungle Friends?
Well, as you said, I was an interior designer decorating people's homes. Now I'm decorating monkey bedrooms and habitats. And when there were quite so many monkeys, all their bedrooms were color coordinated, of course.
Of
Now,
course.
not so much. But I was also before monkeys, I was working with abused and neglected children in a program called CASA.
I'm familiar.
Which is a court-appointed special advocate for abused and neglected children. Here they call him guardian ad litem. So I was doing that volunteer work for about 8 years, and then a monkey came into my life and shifted my gears a little bit. So, my saying is you just do what's in front of you. People always say, oh, I don't know what my passion is. You're so lucky to have found it. I'm like, you just do what's in front of you and you'll be good. So that's what I did.
Yeah. Can you tell us about that first monkey that you met and how it changed your life?
Oh, Samantha, and she passed recently with triple negative breast cancer. Mm. I know, it's crazy. And her sister is still here. When I met her, it was an ex-boyfriend who bought the monkey. And I talked him out of it for a year. I'd never heard of such a thing. So he ended up, said, oh, there's one right here in there's a breeder right here in Las Vegas, which is where I'm from. Let's go and just at least see the monkey. So we went to the breeders, and here comes this tiny little 4-month-old baby, white-faced capuchin riding on the back of a standard poodle. And the cutest thing you ever saw. I know why, people just fall head over heels over them because they are way too cute for their own good. So I said, well, how old is that monkey? And the breeder said, she was born on December 18th. And the boyfriend said, it's an omen. That's my birthday. So I knew there was no getting out of it. And maybe it was an omen, because here we are now, with lots of monkeys.
Well, let's talk about monkeys because, we talk a lot about farmed animals, but
Right.
there are millions of monkeys that have been put through grueling research that we use and abuse. And I know that's what your program is about, but this will be the first time we've actually talked about that on this show. So I would love it if we could go into some more detail about, what makes a monkey, a prime target and, why they're so vulnerable. And, just let's shine a really bright light on monkeys today.
Okay. So the main reason is because they're so much like us.
Mm-hmm.
In research, we have to change some laws. The laws are you have to research first on a rodent, and then on a non-human primate, and then on a human. Those are the rules for all drugs and everything. So the laws have to be changed first. So that's the biggest problem. They're a lot like us, but we learned from our vet, that one of our vets, that you can't extrapolate what you know about this monkey from this monkey to another monkey. How are you going to extrapolate something from this monkey to a human? And you're talking about monkeys who are living alone. They're social animals. They're living alone in a cage, a small cage. And I don't know what kind of results you're going to get, or if it's anything that you can even count on. You know what I mean? Because they're not natural. They're stressed out. We get them and they have their hair all pulled out, or they've been sucking on their tails and they've got wounds. And we have, with little sunshine and fresh air, we can get some of their hair to grow back. But if they've been in the lab sometimes for as many as 20 years, the hair follicles don't work anymore. So their hair doesn't grow back. But we've seen monkeys turn into monkeys. And it's so cool to see them introduced to other monkeys, and they have someone who speaks their language, and someone who knows what their gestures mean, because they've just been alone for so long in a cage and being species isolated, just like if humans were. We know what happens to humans when that happens. We knew it when I worked as a CASA, you'd see what would happen. And it's just really sad that this happens in the labs. They used to catch them in the wild and sell them to labs, and now they breed them at labs. And one of the interesting things that we found was the monkeys who were caught from the wild, there's my little dogs, caught from the wild and sold to the labs, they actually live a lot longer than the monkeys who were born in the lab and raised in the lab, because we assume, because we see it all the time with the monkeys, that because they had, first of all, the benefit of mother's milk, because they will take them as early as 3 days old in the pet trade at 3 days old also. And so they don't have the colostrum they need. They don't have the right kind of foods. They're in a tropical rainforest, and there are certain foods that they eat, certain bacteria that give their systems what they need to be able to fight things. And when they're not born in the wild, they don't have any of that. So we're finding that was just an interesting thing that we found out about them. And then, of course, the pet monkeys, they're just too cute and people want to get them. They don't know that they are literally pried off of the back of their mother. So not only is the baby damaged, the mother is damaged, and you've got, this We called it broken bonds. When I worked with children, we tried not to break the 3 bonds. Once you break 3 bonds, and then it's hard to have them form any bonds anymore. And it seems like it's the same situation with the monkeys. You break a bond with their mom, and then they bond to a human, and then they're sold, passed around to different humans because they bit the kid, or something happened, they escaped, and they've had a lot of bonds broken. So they come broken, a lot of them. And it's hard to see a lot of things that how they come to us. We had a monkey come who was a mess, and they found methamphetamines and caffeine in his blood, and he looked like he was from a concentration camp. That's how he looked when we first heard of him. And now he's doing great. He's learned to use his legs again. And so that's what keeps us all going. We see and hear about a lot of bad things, but then you have them come here and watch them right before your eyes turn into monkeys, having fun and feeling the sunshine and the fresh air for the first time, and digging in the dirt and doing monkey things. So that's our big deal, is we want them to be with other companions. We want them to be with monkeys so that they can have their own species. They would much rather be with a monkey than a human. Humans are poor surrogates for monkey friends. So that's one of the things that we get to see, and that, helps us to keep going, because we know that, no matter what, they're usually going to be just fine. We've always been able to manage to get monkeys to turn into monkeys.
So how did Jungle Friends begin?
So when we got the monkey, and I didn't know anything about monkeys, and I remember this is 30 years ago. There was no internet, there was no Google. I read all the Jane Goodall books, and the main thing that Jane Goodall said was they need to be with their own species. They're social. So I thought, I've got to get another one. So I called the breeder, put one misguided foot in front of the other, and said, what, do you have any other monkeys? My monkey needs a friend. And he said, I just happen to have her sister here. I said, okay. So I went and got her sister, which made all the difference. Then they had each other, and it was great, because Samantha was sleeping on my body. She wouldn't get off my body. To get her off, I had to put on welder's gloves and pry her off, because she was not going to have another bond broken. So she went everywhere with me, showered with me, slept with me. Then when I got another monkey, they were bonded, and that worked out. But I asked the breeder, can I learn about monkeys from you? I can come out and volunteer. And that's when he said, me and another girlfriend were there, and she is our vice president still. And the breeder said, you want to help me pull a monkey? And I said, what does that mean? And he said, you'll see. We went in, and there was a mama and baby, and he had her locked in this small little 3x3 cage, and he opened the door and put a net over mama and baby and reached in with a gloved hand and pried the baby off of the mother. And we were like, oh no, what are you doing? What? No. And he's like, this baby's sold. And I said, how can you do that? And he said, well, this is my father's business. I am a school teacher. I'm going to be selling everyone at an auction. Now, I met these monkeys, know these monkeys, and now I'm told they're all going to be sold off to the highest bidder. I said, how much for everybody? So I gave him my charge card, bought everybody, and didn't have anywhere to put them. So I had to go to the breeders and feed and clean and take care of them until I figured out what was I doing. But I just automatically said, no, I'll buy them. So I found an acre in Las Vegas, and because I was in a subdivision, found an acre in Las Vegas, and brought the monkeys there. But it was so hot and so dry. They're built for hot, humid climates. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to be able to give them that. And of course, my first choice was Costa Rica. Found a lovely property there. Problem was, they wouldn't let monkeys come into the country. Found in, St. Croix was lovely. You had to have a 3-month quarantine, which some would not survive that. So finally said, okay, we've got to go somewhere south in America, not South America. And so we decided on Florida, and we picked Gainesville in Alachua County because there was the vet school here. And it was, not to get too political, but it was the one little blue dot on the map that my mom found and said, we can go right here. So that's why we moved here. We packed up our monkeys and brought them here. And now they have so I'm still in awe from coming from the desert, because I was Arizona, California, Nevada, in my youth and growing up. And now just trees growing everywhere. I mean, they've got corn on the cob and tomatoes and cucumber growing in their habitats, I've seen. So they're seed dispersers naturally. So they drop their seeds and there's like food everywhere for them to eat. So that's so cool that they do that. And I just love watching them climb in the trees, and just, it's really amazing.
When I think of monkeys, I think of curiosity. They're just the most curious.
Yes.
They're quizzical. They're looking at you. They're trying to figure things out. You don't necessarily see that in all animals, and it just looks like it's a sign of great intelligence.
Yeah, you can look at them and see the wheels turn. And especially the white-faced capuchins. I call them pranksters. Some people they call them things not quite so nice, because they're really smart. They're the smartest of all of the capuchins. And even Franz de Waal put the capuchins right under chimpanzees. Mm-hmm. So they're really smart, and they have thumbs. And so you've got to be really careful, because they're going to try to get you, and just because it's fun, I mean, they have to make their life interesting. So we try to give them as much interest as possible and make it we call it an almost wild habitat that they live in. And then in their bedrooms, it's more like a kid's bedroom with their toys and activity centers and blankies when we have to lock them in for hurricanes. That's one's creeping up now, and we have to lock them in there. So we give them a lot of indoor kids' toys and things inside in their bedrooms. But so it's, I got off track. I forgot what I was saying now.
No worries. It's all good information. No worries.
Okay.
You're listening to Better Life for Animals podcast. Our mission is to amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. First of all, go ahead and subscribe to this channel wherever you're watching or listening. And then get involved by visiting betterlifeforanimals.com. That's betterlifeforanimals.com. Be sure to check out our blog, learn more about incredible sanctuaries, and explore our book section, where 100% of net proceeds from book sales are donated to sanctuaries. Every action you take helps to make a difference. And remember, subscribe to this channel. And now, back to the show.
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Kari Bagnall, and she is with Jungle Friends. So, Kari, can you describe like a misconception that people often have about primate sanctuaries?
Yes, I think a lot of people think it's like a zoo, and it's not. And I tell people now, the zoos are getting better all the time. I do have to say that, but I tell people to look at the zoo. It looks like a beautiful habitat, but then look at the hot wire wrapped around the tree. It's for humans. They want the humans to see the beautiful habitat, but the animals aren't allowed to mess up the trees. So we plant all the time, because they will just pull up a banana plant and, they're happy with that, and they eat the whole banana plant. And we put a lot of edible plants in their habitat so they can eat them. And zoos are for people. That's for human entertainment, really. It is not for the animals. Now it's better than it used to be. It used to be just jail cells, and now they're doing a lot more at zoos. I only wish the zoos would not continue to breed and trade. They trade animals all the time for breeding purposes because there's so many animals that need homes, that if they could just take in the former pets or the ones from research and different animals like that, then they can talk about why they don't make good pets. That would be a good educational program. So that's the difference between zoos and sanctuaries, is we are here for the monkeys and zoos are there for the people. And that's probably the main difference I can think of.
I've listened to some talks about animal research, which I find to be the most difficult topic.
Yeah.
And what sticks out in my mind is that at least 95% of all the research doesn't apply. It's useless. It's just cruel.
Yeah.
So I wonder, do people know that you exist, and do they know that you have saved all of these specific monkeys who have gone through this horrific process?
Not really. We're kind of off the grid, I guess, because a lot of people haven't heard of us. And I think it's because there really isn't a lot of monkey consciousness out there. There's, people, the sexy animals, as we call them, the sexy animals, the chimpanzees, the tigers, those, the wolves, they know about them. The chimpanzees are no longer in research. They all got out, and everyone thought, well, I thought that all of the monkeys got out of research, just the chimpanzees. There are a lot of monkeys in research, and now they've got the genome for the marmosets. They can have a marmoset bred with Parkinson's disease, and it's just really crazy. And most people, when they hear about that what they're doing to the monkeys, oppose animal research. And that's great. But I say, people are still eating animals.
Right.
And, so how are you're opposed to animal research, but you've got one on your plate, So there's such a disconnect that people need to understand that all animals matter. You don't get to say, this one I'm going to eat, this one I'll wear, and this one I'm going to research on, and this one is my pet. That's what people do. They compartmentalize everything. And until we can get people off of that, I don't know how we're going to stop a lot of this until people the easiest thing would be to quit eating animals. The only reason you do that is because it tastes good. That's what people tell me. That's why. Where there are, researchers that really think that they're making a difference. And some research I hear does, and they think they're doing this wonderful thing. They're going to cure cancer or whatever. Well, how long have we been trying to cure cancer? I had one lab vet tell me there are more animals in cancer studies than we have people that have cancer. That's how much money is involved in cancer research. So a lot of it is money generated. And I know I'm getting off topic all over the place, but
I don't think you are. I think all of this is very important. It's absolutely why we're here today.
Okay.
I want everyone to understand this piece of animal cruelty, which is research. And of course, it's about what we eat, and we do talk about that, but we don't get to talk so much about the research piece. And you're experiencing directly what kind of an impact this laid on these poor animals. And I love how you have the experience of working with CASA and the three, once you have 3 breaks in trust, it's really hard to rebuild that. What works for humans applies also to monkeys.
Right. Same thing.
Yeah.
And that's what, it's just, we just need to get people to understand that. And I've even had vegans come to me and say, you know what, you need to forget the monkeys and just work on veganism because so many animals are killed every day, for food. I said, I know they are. And I've been vegan for, 20 years or more, vegetarian for longer. But I said, I understand that. Believe me, I do. And we've produced a lot of vegans out of Jungle Friends also. But the thing is that, and what I tried to make him understand is the animals, for food animals, it's horrible what they go through, and they live a few years. The monkeys can live 20 years being through this horrendous research, and there's still, 20 years is a lot for one animal to go through, and that's why they come such a mess, that some take a long time, years, to even be able to trust us. This one program that we rescued all the monkeys out of this study, we'd have to have just one person go and feed and care for them at a time. And first it was just one person, because when the two people came, they knew they were going to be carried off somewhere and something was going to happen. So we would just have one person go, and then we would try to slowly, introduce them to more people and see more than one person at a time. But it was crazy, and I didn't know anything about it. That was one of the first groups we got out of research. I'm like, why are they so, what's happening? And that was it. You came near them and they knew something bad was going to happen. So
is most of your staff volunteers?
No, unfortunately, it's hard to find volunteers. It's a lot of work, and it's so we have mostly paid employees. We have about 20 staff.
Okay.
That's one of our biggest expenses is staff. We have some great volunteers, but we're in Gainesville, so it's a lot of students that are busy going to school, and they'll come out during the summer or, on breaks and things to help out. But it is still a small-ish town, so there's not a lot of volunteers. We need more volunteers.
Well, let's see if we can get some for you.
That'd be great.
So how do official accreditations and inspections help boost confidence among donors and supporters? I know that you are, heavily regulated, and, you have to keep all of that on the up and up. So what's that process like?
Well, it's pretty easy. I mean, it's just do the best you can for the animals is mostly what you need to do. And what I tell people is to come out and visit Jungle Friends,
okay.
Is the main thing, because people get out here and they're like, oh, I had no idea, and I had no idea when I started either it was going to be this giant thing. But that's what I tell people, and that's what foundations have said, Kari, you've got to get people out there to see Jungle Friends, because, you just can't get it from the website or YouTube. We've got lots of videos and things, but you just don't get it. So that's when I decided to go ahead and do the Airbnb experiences. I don't know if you've heard of that, but they do it for animal sanctuaries and different nonprofits, all free. And they approached me years ago, right before COVID. And so we would have people come out, just 6 people at a time on a golf cart, and introduce them to the monkeys, and they learn about the monkeys, where they came from, what their history is, things like that. And then COVID happened and that all closed down, but we're back up and running with that now. So that has helped a lot with people to be able to see the place and meet them up close and personal, because they think monkeys are baby chimps. Oh yeah, I know what a monkey is, the little like Tarzan monkey. I'm like, no, that's a baby chimp. Chimps are really big, and monkeys have tails. So, and people still don't know the difference. So we just don't know. Like I say, if you buy a red car, all of a sudden you see a lot of red cars on the road. It's red car consciousness, I call it. And then if you have monkey consciousness, like you and your viewers who are watching and listening to this will now have monkey consciousness, and they'll start hearing about them now more. But when you don't have it, you don't hear about it, even though we've been on Nat Geo and, Discovery and different things like that. But I don't have sports consciousness, so I don't know when a game is happening. Where other people do. So do you know what I mean? That's
do.
Why people don't know about the problem.
So a lot of what we focus on this show is helping sanctuaries with their fundraising efforts, because so many of you work, you just work on a shoestring. So have you found any successful strategies in running Jungle Friends that we could share?
Well, I am 71 years old, and so I'm not real good at tech stuff, but I have people that are helping me, and they're doing, a lot of things on Facebook, and they've got a donate button there. We make a few $1,000s there, but we need like $100,000 a month, really, to keep everything going and the way we want everything to go. So it's really difficult to raise funding, especially for monkeys, because people don't know about them. They're underrepresented, and like people know about veganism and know about farm animals, and they know about that. They know about dogs and cats, but nobody knows about the monkeys. So that's my biggest hurdle, is to teach people about the monkeys and that there isn't a problem. So that is one of the things that we do. The monkeys paint, so we do monkey art.
Awesome.
So we're going to be doing that.
So you've got several programs on your website that people could check out, creative ways to get people's attention to. It's about that individual monkey, isn't it? It seems as though we
Right.
talk about things in mass and it just goes over our head. But if you can
It's
talk
too
about that
much.
one story.
Right. And that's what we do too. We have a sponsor a monkey program
Okay.
where you can sponsor a monkey. We have it where you can find your birthday buddy. So find a monkey that has a birthday on your same day or close to your same day, or sponsor a monkey that will do, tell them, like on Facebook yesterday, I think she put something on about this monkey, the different personalities of the monkeys. Find out which monkey you connect with the same personality. So that's how we do it, is try to connect them with that monkey. And then we give them updates when they sponsor monkeys. We give them updates every month about what their monkey's been doing, if they've got a new friend, or, if their companion died, and we're going to, socialize them with another one. We have a lot of elderly monkeys here, monkeys in their 40s. And, so we've got a lot of aging animals. So we're always really want to get them right back together with someone. So people enjoy that. We send them videos about their monkeys and have them paint, and painting for them. So that's the biggest thing. And then they can come out and visit their sponsored monkey and bring their friends and go on the magical monkey experience, we call it, and come out and visit. And we have a place right here on site that we call our volunteer visitors. So you can stay at an Airbnb and come and visit and go. But if you stay here, we're going to put you to work. So you can come here and visit and go on the tour, and then you're going to be working. So
Do you have a lot of success with that? That sounds great.
Yeah.
How many days does the typical person come to stay?
We've had people stay for months,
Okay.
and we've had people stay for the weekend.
Okay. So, Kari, you have so many dynamic ideas for fundraising. Could you share one of your most successful with us?
Well, I would have to say the most successful is probably our Sponsor a Monkey program.
Okay.
We used to call it Adopt a Monkey, and people would say, well, I'll come and pick my monkey up. You don't have to send them. I'm like, no. So that's why we had to change it to the Sponsor a Monkey program. And the reason I feel it's so successful is because we do connect them with a monkey. So they get updates about their monkey, and they get paintings from their monkey, and they connect with a particular monkey. Some people sponsor several monkeys. The good thing about that is the money is monthly. So they sponsor monkeys monthly, which makes it easier to budget if you know how much money is coming in every month for sponsorships. So we try to move everyone to sponsorships rather than giving a big chunk here and a big chunk there. It's easier for me to budget if it's monthly. And I think that is, and then it's just something that automatically comes out, and they don't notice it, so much, especially in this, right now, everybody's worried and scared. And we have had people have to reduce their sponsorships because everyone's worried right now about money and inflation and stuff. And we understand that. Me too. But I think that if you can get monthly donors, that's the biggest thing to do. And then they'll still help you on different campaigns. Right now, you guys will be the first to hear about these monkeys that came in, that we went we went on the rescue with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, which was a breeding facility for the dark web. Oh. I did not even know. I'm like, what are they doing with monkeys on the dark web? And my Fish and Wildlife guys said, Kari, don't ask. You don't want to know. And I said, okay, I don't need to know. And so we just got them in. They're not even on the website yet because we wanted to wait, make sure he's in jail, and these kinds of things are done. And so now we're going to be able to launch them, but they are a spider monkey, a few marmosets and tamarins, and 3 capuchins. So that was great to be able to get them out of a situation where it was horrible. There were hundreds of animals, and there were 3 sanctuaries in Florida. They had to stay in the state of Florida first. They had to have sanctuaries here. And there were some amazing 2 other sanctuaries that were working on this with us, and went out and, helped, pretend like we were part of Fish and Wildlife, didn't want anyone to know, of course, where the monkeys or the other animals were going. And so that was the most recent rescue that we did that hasn't been out there yet.
So it sounds like they know about you, and that's your source. You're able to find these animals in need because they know who you are.
Oh, yeah, Fish and Wildlife do, yeah. Okay. They know where all the safe places are. And also USDA, they've brought us monkeys from USDA also. And then the labs how we found out first got into rescuing monkeys out of laboratory research is when we got to Florida, went to University of Florida, which is the vet school, and someone said, well, the best person for you to hook up with is Dr. Collins because he knows everything about monkeys. And I said, oh, okay, sounds great. And he works in the lab. And I'm like, oh, no, But he was not the researcher. He was the vet at the lab. And he is the one who got the monkeys out of labs. A lot of labs. He would tell people, well, they don't need, Kari will take some if you got New World monkeys. And so he kind of spread the word about us. And that's when other labs said, oh, yeah, because a lot of the people, sometimes the researchers are so removed, they don't even know what's going on, where the veterinarian is the one who contacts us. If I can get the researcher to release these monkeys, can I bring them there? And so that's how, or vet techs that are there, they call me and say, if I can get the researcher, and some will, some won't. Some they just can't get out. They don't want the liability. They don't want anyone to even know they have monkeys there. And, other places they do get out. Like at the FDA, we just got, it's been 5 years ago. Oh, it's been a while. I forget how long ago, but they were at the FDA doing nicotine research. Like nicotine, don't we know that it is addictive? I thought we figured all that out. What are we doing, So it was an animal rights group first found out about them because they accidentally euthanized they died under anesthesia. The monkeys did. So they got up in arms. They contacted Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall wrote a scathing letter to the commissioner of the FDA about these monkeys because what they found out was what they were doing was they bought some young monkeys, very young monkeys, and then bought a group of older monkeys. They wanted to see how quickly they could addict the young monkeys versus the older monkeys, and how much more difficult it was to get them off of nicotine. That was what the study was about. So who do you think wanted that study? Big tobacco. Because if you can get a kid addicted to nicotine at an early age, you pretty much got a customer for life.
And this is happening this is current information. This
happened, we got them all out. No, the commissioner...
It's crazy.
Yeah, so the commissioner said, they're all going to sanctuaries. He said right then and there to Jane Goodall, they're all going out. He doesn't work there anymore. And so they did not want them to go anywhere. And one of the women who was working there as one of the researchers stayed at the lab all night because she was afraid they were going to euthanize them. So it's just weird, just things that happen, but we got them all out and they're all here and they're all doing great. We call them the FDA boys. And now there's, it's called the After Act. And we're trying to get that going. And it's sounding like it's going to pass because that is the act where monkeys or animals who are in research, if they are eligible for retirement, like they get to go watching, but if they're eligible to be retired and released, that they have to be. So the good thing, now there's over 100,000 monkeys in labs, so there's not enough sanctuaries to take care of them. But the good thing is when they go in, if we get this passed, which I think we will, because the FDA and the VA are already talking about it's going to happen, and where are these monkeys going to go? So if they have to go to get their grant, so, okay, I want to do this research. I need X amount of dollars for monkeys. I need X amount of dollars for staff, X amount of dollars to rent the room, and so millions of dollars. And then I need 5 million to retire them all. Mm-hmm. So that's going to eliminate a lot of research that is redundant, maybe, or they're going to look at it a little differently. Okay, you need $5 million to, maybe we don't need to do that. I think that will cut down just because of the money.
Okay.
And for no other reason.
So they have to look at the cost for the whole life of the animal.
Right. Yeah. So when we've taken monkeys in, like from different labs, some give you money and others don't. Like when we get one or two here and there, we'll just take them. But when it's 26 squirrel monkeys or 57 squirrel monkeys, also, okay, there were 26 squirrel monkeys at one time, 57 squirrel monkeys another time, there were 65 cotton-top tamarins another time. But they're like, I need a few $1 million, just 26 monkeys, I needed $1 million just to build and care for. And that was like, that was cutting the cost and really sharpening my pencil to see what I could do. So some do, some don't, and some are euthanized. So that's going to be really good, that act, if we can get that bill passed. The other one that I would like to talk about, if I have a little more time.
Absolutely.
Great, is it's called the Captive Primate Safety Act. And this has been around for, over 10 years. I briefed Congress on the Hill years ago about this, and we still didn't get it. And it's nonpartisan. All it is the Lacey Act. All we wanted to put at the very end of the Lacey Act is put "and all non-human primates," which would just mean, you can't cross the border with, plants and animals and different things. And we just wanted to put all non-human primates in the Lacey Act, which wouldn't mean you could breed a monkey in, say, Florida, but only sell the monkey in Florida. But breeders they sell monkeys all over and they just ship them everywhere. So that would cut down a lot on the pet monkey population if they can't legally send a monkey over state lines.
Is having a pet monkey a good idea?
Oh gosh, no. No, I mean, it's not good for the monkey, certainly. He's stolen from the mom and has to try to communicate with a human who they don't, can't communicate, but it's bad for the humans. I have monkeys here where people, I've got one now on my waiting list where he bit the woman's finger off. And this is a monkey she had all around her house. And all of a sudden one day I say, it's the last no. When you tell them no the last time, they will get you, and then somebody's going to get hurt. And that's why most of the pet monkeys get here, is because they're dangerous. And so that's the problem.
How many monkeys does Jungle Friends have right now, and what's your capacity?
Well, we have 181 monkeys right now. We have had over 300 at one time.
Okay.
And we had the 57 monkeys that came here out of a research program, came here with the researchers, the one who wanted them out. She was doing studies, cup studies, fun little studies, and then that study was stopped, and she wanted to build a sanctuary there in Northern California. And they only gave her like 4 months. And you can't get the permits and the land and all that in 4 months. So she asked us if she could build here, which we did. And we never thought she would ever get a permit in California because they are really strict. 5 years later, she did. And it was so sad. I'm like, are you sure? She'd come and visit every year. She loved those monkeys. I said, they've been here 5 years. They know Jungle Friends is, their home, and the staff love them. And she said, I love them. And, and the agreement was we would keep them if and when. And she did get her permits, but they're there. She built just the same as Jungle Friends built. Oh, my little girl wants to get down. Here goes the good girl. So 57 left, and we're all, as they were leaving, but it allowed for more monkeys to come in and gave us some expanded spaces for a lot of our monkeys. Also to use some of the buildings, we repurposed a couple of the buildings for other monkeys. So we have 2 buildings now where we can shelter in place everybody here now, where the climate is changing and we are the hurricanes are crazy. The hot weather is so hot. Their bedrooms have AC and heat. So every day when it reaches 85 degrees, you start getting the monkeys in, because at 87, it's too hot. And with the humidity and everything, and then it gets too cold and stays too cold. When we first got here, they were in big outdoor habitats, and they'd go in their heat caves and bundle up in their blankets and come out, and then it was nice during the day. Now it can stay cold all morning, all day. So we have our shelter in place project has their habitats with runways leading to their bedrooms. And before, we just had the old folks, in the bedrooms, or the diabetics that couldn't, deal with temperature changes and things. And now we have a lot of aging monkeys, so a lot of them are old folks now. We're all getting old, and we want everybody to be able to shelter in place. So when the hurricane comes, it's still difficult because they really would rather be outside, but we make these magic monkey muffins, I call them, and they have their favorite things in them, and we muffin, and then we lock them in. So we lock them out of their habitats, walk them into their bedrooms, have to lock them in. Sometimes we'll have a TV on or a radio on or some music, but they have all their toys in there. So it's usually just a day or 2 they have to be locked in. But if it gets really cold, sometimes the weather has just changed so much since I arrived here 30 years ago. It's just so different now that, I don't know. It's real hot and real cold.
Yes.
So,
sounds like you're running a full-on retirement community.
Yes. Yeah.
Period. People, it wouldn't be any different.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Kari, it has been such a pleasure talking with you today. It's just been such an eye-opener. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we close? And please let us know how we can find you and how we can support you.
Okay, well, I love that. So our website is junglefriends.org. O-R-G, not .com. That's something else. I don't know what, but it's junglefriends.org. And of course, we have a YouTube channel too, Jungle Friends Primate Sanctuary YouTube. So you can go and watch a lot of YouTube videos. And you can call me and 386-266-2037 if you want to come out and volunteer. Be happy to have you. And you can also email. Or on our website now, we just got this. On our website, there's a chat bot that I named Charlotte after my monkey and co-founder. And you can ask questions there, and they'll scroll through the website and find answers for you. So it's really cool. So you can get in touch with me right there on the website.
I love that. And to think you're saying that you're not tech savvy, I would have to beg to differ here. You've got like every bell and whistle. It just sounds like a lot of fun, and I hope everyone will check you out.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.
We have loved it. This has been Cheryl Moss at Better Life for Animals. And if you have enjoyed this talk today, as I know I have, please like and subscribe us so that we can all create a better life for animals.
Thank you for joining us on the Better Life for Animals podcast. Together, we can create a world where all beings are treated with dignity, respect, and care. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening. It helps us reach more people and spread awareness about the incredible work happening in animal sanctuaries. You can also share this episode with friends and fellow advocates to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep speaking up, taking action, and making a difference for the animals.